But first, thanks to our wonderful sponsors. I don't know if you just saw the news, but average U.S. household debt just hit $152,000. That's mortgages, cars, cards, student loans. But the national debt just hit $37 trillion. It's all going up. Ask yourself this. When the system hiccups, who bails you out? It's not the Fed, not the politicians, and that's why I own gold. Gold doesn't need a CEO, doesn't need missed earnings. It doesn't freeze your account on a Friday at 4:59. While they print, gold just sits there doing what it's done for thousands of years. Store value. If you're done playing musical chairs with your savings, get something real in your hand. That's why you should try our good friends Kirk Elliott Precious Metals today. Goldwithjustin.com. Kirk and the team going to walk you through what they're doing, whether you're a seasoned pro when it comes to buying precious metals or you're just getting started. Call Kirk and the team today at 720-605-3900. That's 720-605-3900, or go to goldwithjustin.com to find out how they can help you today. No pressure, just facts and a plan. That's goldwithjustin.com. Protect what's yours with gold. Goldwithjustin.com. Do it today. When the grocery shelves go empty, you're out of time. That's the truth. Disasters hit fast. Storms, blackouts, supply chain chaos, and the first thing to vanish is food. That's why smart Americans, just like you, are stocking up now with My Patriot Supply. You can go to preparewithjustin.com right now to get a 3-month emergency food kit, and they'll even throw in a free 4-week food kit to boot. That's 4 whole months of meals ready to eat. No refrigeration needed, all with a 25-year shelf life. We're talking breakfast, lunches, dinners, over 2,000 calories a day to keep you strong when everything else shuts down. So don't wait until the crisis is here. Order today, and it ships fast and discreet. Go to preparewithjustin.com. That's preparewithjustin.com, because when the lights go out, the last thing you should be worrying about is feeding your family. Preparewithjustin.com. It's here, the grand reopening of the merch store. JustinBarkley.com/store. We've got brand new tees, hoodies, and gear in fresh designs, colors, and sizes, even some for the kids. You're going to find favorites like the FAFO, Fool Around, Find Out shirt, the Gulf of America tees, sweats, and more. And alligator Alcatraz designs are ready to wear and ready to make a statement.
We're talking about what matters most to you in West Michigan. Join the conversation now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on Wood Radio.
Oh, welcome in. What a beautiful day. The sun is shining. I think that's my biggest headline for the day. We'll be into the mid-70s, maybe 75, maybe. Warming up even more so tomorrow, but that sunshine is on tap today. Get out and enjoy it. You know, as the kids say these days, touch grass. You gotta do that every now and then, right? Remember what's really, I think, the most important. I've got headlines. We'll do some news. The latest in Iran, the ceasefire extended. But hold on, there's more there.
News, weather, and traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three. Now today's Big Three.
Big Three, powered by our good friends at Heartland Home Mortgage. They're going to be talking about these stories around the dinner table. Yeah, the water cooler. No matter where you are, it's all powered by our good friends at Heartland Home Mortgage. Dave Galloway and the team ready to help you, whether you want to buy, refi, home equity line of credit. And we've done all three. And they've hit the thousands each and every time. By the way, folks listen to this program have done the same thing. And they can't say enough about Dave Galloway and the team. HHMlending.com.
Number one.
Hold on. President Trump said he's going to give Iran some time, a little bit of extra time to make an offer, get an offer in. This came out yesterday. Since then, President extending that ceasefire. By the way, this is at the request of Pakistan, where they were going to do that negotiating, sit down at the table. They never left. Folks in the Iranian government never left. Whoever that is now, the IRGC, the Ayatollah, the Ayatollah, whoever's there now, we have no idea who's really running things. I don't think they know. Iranian forces since have fooled around, and I think they're probably about ready to find out. The latest reports, we've got a couple of ships targeted overnight.
It's been hit by Iranian gunfires in those small little fast boats in the Strait of Hormuz, and it happened this morning.
Meanwhile, President Trump has extended his ceasefire deadline, citing a fractured regime. And Matt Finn is live in Islamabad, Pakistan, with the latest for us. Hey, Matt.
Hi, Ainsley. There is supposed to be a ceasefire, but we are getting these reports of 3 separate ships attacked in the Strait of Hormuz this morning. The third cargo ship, the most recent, reportedly has been attacked while attempting to transit the strait. It may have a Panama flag on it. And earlier, the British military reported one of its ships was attacked as well. We don't have the confirmed attacker, but, Iran is suspected here.
Tell you where this goes next, at least where it looks like it's going next. Coming up in just moments, folks. Stand by. This 11-count felony indictment unveiled against the Southern Poverty Law Center, the SLPC, and, of course, they are right smack dab in the middle of the find out era as well. Came out yesterday. Prosecutors allege the civil rights group, well, they allege they're a civil rights group. How about that? Secretly funneled over $3 million in donor funds from 2014 to 2023 to paid informants inside the Ku Klux Klan. Other extremist groups publicly, they opposed as well, using shell companies to hide the payments. So they were, in essence, funding all of the insanity to keep themselves funded. Make it make sense.
Good afternoon. Today, a few minutes ago, in the Middle District of Alabama, a grand jury returned an 11-count indictment charging the Southern Poverty Law Center with 6 counts of wire fraud, 4 counts of bank fraud, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering.
All right, let's get into why that matters in the jurisdiction, particularly in Alabama. Will be helpful to bring these people down. Oh, and there's a Michigan tie, you don't say. The Democrat frontrunner for governor right now, Jocelyn Benson, not only employed at one time by the Southern Poverty Law Center, but I believe, we'll get some confirmation on this, sat on the board, maybe even at the time all of this went down.
Number 3.
Yeah, it is an interesting story that, we'll continue to have to dig into. For the latest, don't go with us. It was history in the making yesterday. The President of the United States of America read from the Bible in his Oval Office to America, part of reading the Bible. It's called Bible Across America, 7 days straight. He read 2 Chronicles, chapter 7, starting at verse 11. I think they went to 20.
Thus Solomon finished the house of the Lord and the king's house, and all that came into Solomon's heart to make in the house of the Lord, and in his own house he prosperously effected. And the Lord appeared to Solomon by night and said to him, I have heard your prayer and have chosen this place to myself for a house of sacrifice. If I shut up heaven, that there be no rain, or if I command the locust to devour the land, or if I send pestilence among my people, if my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. Now my eyes shall be open and my ears attent to the prayer that is made in this place. For now I have chosen and sanctified this house, that my name may be there forever, and my eyes and my heart shall be there perpetually. And as for you, if you will walk before me, as David your father walked, and do according to all that I have commanded you, and shall observe my statutes and my judgments, Then will I establish the throne of my kingdom according to as I have covenanted with David your father, saying, there shall not fail you as a man to be ruler in Israel. But if you turn away and forsake my statutes and my commandments, which I have set before you, and shall go and serve other gods and worship them, then will I pluck them up from the roots out of my land which I have given them, and this house which I have sanctified for my name will I cast out of my sight, and will make it to be a proverb and a byword among nations. And this house which is high shall be an astonishment to every one that passes by it, so that he shall say, why has the Lord done thus to this land and to this house? And it shall be answered, because they forsook the Lord God of their fathers, which brought them forth out of the land of Egypt, and laid hold on other gods, and worshiped them and served them. Therefore has he brought all this evil upon them.
President of the United States, live from the Oval Office yesterday in an historic moment. And quite some significance to that piece that he did read was, wow, that was something. Anyway, when was the last time you saw something like that happen? Give you a chance to weigh in on any of these things today. And yes, we'll have our conversation with the iHeartRadio app. Use the talkback feature thanks to MKD Funeral Homes. Justin at justinbarkley.com or hit the phone.
Call Justin now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
So let's walk through a little bit of this Southern Poverty Law Center issue, because I think it's probably the biggest. We'll talk about Iran coming up here in just a little bit, but first, this is massive. This is the find out era. Dan Bongino alluded to this yesterday, and in fact, he told people, hey, if you don't think cash and you don't think these guys were up to something, just wait. What you're about to see drop is going to be massive. He said, mark this. And of course, hours later, we saw the announcement come out, which is it's massive on a level. You've got to understand what actually happened. The Department of Justice has put out this infographic and piece to explain, but they were doing much more than funding the very causes that they said they were fighting against. There's a lot that this really reveals behind the curtain. The announcement, the indictment against the Southern Poverty Law Center, alleging the SPLC secretly funneled more than $3 million into funds to members of white supremacist and extremist groups. Again, this is fraud on a level that you've only heard about until now. Nobody else was going to target this. Why? Because this is not an error. This is a function, not a bug of that system. This is how, as we've seen with USAID, Democrats, folks in government were able to pull off some of the things. And of course, think about how that funding kicks back to the Democrats at some point. In this case, we know for a fact some of the things that they were funding, which happened to be the 2017, the Charleston, the very thing that they were accusing President Trump of being the problem for. Apparently, they were behind the scenes running the whole time. And as I make the case for this, and I think this is one that you'll find out, they are the hate group. They are, according to the filings, the largest funder of American neo-Nazis and KKK members. And remember, these are always folks saying that the Republicans are the problem. Trump's the problem. They allegedly, if you believe all those indictments, made a problem that they could point a finger to fearmonger. Andy No on X writes, to fearmonger and fundraise hundreds of millions of dollars. More importantly, they could build a moral panic that Democrats could then use to sway elections, defame political targets, and grab power. This is more than just alleged masked financial fraud. It is that too. People will be held accountable. You are going to see massive amounts of details. I wish I could say people being held accountable, because that just, you can't ever bet on that. There's a really good chance that this will happen, because they are going to hold this case apparently in Alabama. The indictments came down from a grand jury, so you can't say, well, it's just Trump trying to find this out and point fingers. But the other question about this is a question about who from Michigan has connections. The current Secretary of State, who wants to oversee her own election to governor here, the Democrat Jocelyn Benson, not only worked for them, but apparently has massive ties and was there at the time all of this went down. The find out era. I can tell you, we're going to dig into this a little bit after 9:35. James Dixon will join us. We'll talk about the implications not only here in the state of Michigan, but what we see broader on the national scale, and what this all means for the Southern Poverty Law Center and those people that were behind the scenes. This is the game. It's completely been revealed. Now, this is something that you and I have known, at least if you're any talk radio, I'd say consumer, at any bit at all. You've known this. You understood. These are the people who are behind the scenes pulling all the levers, right? These are the people that are doing the very same thing that they're accusing other people of doing. And of course, the question on the connections and how deep the whole thing goes, what exactly it means, that's the big piece. All right, 2 weeks after, just so you know how this whole scam works, 2 weeks after the Unite the Right rally occurred, according to Insurrection Barbie over on X, they raked in massive donations. So that big rally, remember Charleston and the good people on both sides hoax and all that. 2 weeks after that rally, here's what they did. They collected money from big name donors and lots of dough. George and Amal Clooney donated $1 million. Apple and Tim Cook donated $1 million. JP Morgan Chase, according to this, donated $500,000 to CSLPC, split from $1 million total with ADL. MGM Resorts, $1 million. They went from $65 million in donations to $130 million in donations, according to this post here on X. I'm sure that's just a coincidence. So now you start to see how this all works. And I'm not saying that the donors were complicit. That's not necessarily what I'm saying. However, if they can prove that, that's a whole nother question. But you see how the grift works. You see how all of this, and media, by the way, completely complicit in this, because at the same time, all of this is happening behind the scenes. Have you heard about this on the nightly news? Oh, I'm sure they'll get around to covering it. I just won't hold my breath.
Informative, engaging. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
your headlines from the Midwesterner this Wednesday, April 22nd. I'm Robin Hoffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. Residents in Ingersoll Township scoring a big win after planning commissioners voted to reject a special use permit for a DTE Energy solar park that most residents said they did not want. After 5.5 hours of public comments from residents, DTE reps, sound experts, and others, commissioners voting 6-1 to reject the request for a special use permit for the project. In other news, Jocelyn Benson hit with a fourth complaint about racial discrimination at the Department of State. Metro Detroit Secretary of State branch employees Jacqueline Griffin and Cheryl Ann Sanker alleged they were subjected to discrimination and retaliation. For these stories and more, visit The Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
It's Steve Kelly from Wood Radio for Super Sure. Let's talk business insurance. You ever notice that rates go up every year, but nobody...
Welcome in to the behind the scenes live stream, folks. With us today, it is the day of a fireside chat a little later tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, over live. I might actually even have an actual fire tonight. It's so nice. Be outside, no rain. 8:30 p.m. Eastern tonight. Looks like a good time to do it. So whether you're watching Facebook, Twitter, X, Rumble, Getter, Locals, YouTube, you can see it. And then we'll go a little bit further behind the scenes for Beck. Sort of a VIP treatment of Ask Me Anything with the folks on Locals. But definitely jump on with us tonight right here, wherever you're watching. We'll say good morning to the folks over in the VIP room today. Manda, Mark, good to see you. Hemi, good to see you too. Andrew, thank you so much for your support. Gritter, Michigan, Joe, Karen, thank you. Cook Garden, Salo, Sue, so many others jumping in this morning on the Rumbles. We see Tree Frog, History Diggers, Julianne, Tennisel, SJ, Trish in Progress. Thank you, folks. Gary's here today too, over on the book. Let's see, who will they have the book today? We got Bunny. Thank you for sharing, by the way. If you do share, you're going to help us break the algorithm. We'll put you in the running. Somebody at the end of the show here is going to get set up. We got something cool from you inside the Justin store. You can pick out a tee, a hoodie, a mug, something like that. And you just click share. And if you do from another platform, Facebook is preferred because it helps us with the algorithm. But you do from another platform, make sure you just tag me on it. And if you want to support us, you can go to justinbarclay.com/store. But thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Sherry, thank you. Bruce, Laura, Mary, Jason, April, Jessica, Tammy, thank you so much, guys. Always appreciate it. All right. Back on the air. Stand by. About 30 seconds left here, and we're back on, folks. You're watching the behind-the-scenes live stream. If this is your first time here, thank you for being a part of the show. Here we go.
That this investigation was opened during the Biden administration and then mysteriously closed. I really don't have any information about why it was closed. And then we started again last year. The FBI did, working with the U.S. Attorney in Alabama. And it's extraordinarily egregious. You just talked about it. But imagine a donor to the SPLC if they were told, by the way, we're going to give the money you're giving us to the Ku Klux Klan. Okay? Like, in some cases, over $1 million. I mean, it's incredible.
Now, they say they're no longer using these informants in this way and that it was necessary because they had all sorts of threats against the organization, firebombing threats and other acts of purported violence. And that's why they had to use these informants. And to that, you say?
Well, to that I say, for one, the indictment charges all the way through 2023. So I'm here to speak about what they're doing right now, but that indictment charges a long period of time through 2023. And second, and more importantly, there's no allegation or information in the indictment that suggests they shared that information with law enforcement. They have communicated.
They said they did.
Well, they have communicated when they so chose with law enforcement over the years. There's no information that we have that suggests that the money that they were paying to these informants and these members of these organizations organizations, they then turned around and shared what they learned with law enforcement. To the contrary, or else we would have known from their own words that they had given this money to these guys, and we didn't know it.
Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche on that. And the Michigan connection, the individual was on the board at one point, maybe even during the middle of all this. Running for governor here. We'll unpack that coming up next. Don't go anywhere. Well, it's that time of year. Time to think about spring cleaning. But when was the last time you included air duct cleaning as part of that routine? Hey, it's Justin Barkley. Air ducts can accumulate dirt, dust, and pet hair that impact the quality of the air you breathe and the efficiency of your furnace and air conditioning. Don't wait another year. Contact my friends, the experts at ProTech Heating and Cooling. Schedule your air duct cleaning today. ProTech Heating and Cooling. Online at ProTechGR.com. Tell them Justin sent you. ProTechGR.com.
A free iHeart app could win you something amazing.
The iHeart Awards in LA.
Plus, it's the fastest way to get your voice on.
Thank you, folks, for being here with us. I got more from Todd Blanche here. We'll let you hear the rest of this.
Now, the latest news from.
This is. Let me do this. This is last night on Laura Ingraham's show after the indictment.
What about Charlottesville and the Charlottesville Unite the Right rally?
That's the part I want to play when we come back to. I mean, that's the big one. I'll let you hear it first. A little bit of a preview.
And the Charlottesville Unite the Right rally. Were they involved in that?
Yes. So what we allege in the indictment and what the grand jury found is that one of the individuals that they paid was one of the folks who helped organize that terrible event. And so so imagine what we're talking about, Laura. We're talking about an organization that actively came out and just screamed it from the top of their lungs.
So just so people understand watching this, did these informants in some cases, given the evidence you've seen, actually initiate what would ultimately be these activities? And obviously Charlottesville ended with a tragedy.
Well, we know that they were part of those. They were part of it. Whether they were the leaders or the initiators, that'll come out, I think, eventually. But what we do know is that the very entities that this group was raising money to go against are the very entities that they were taking the money in and paying to these entities and these individuals associated with those groups.
What was the money used for?
Well, we don't know, because again, all we know is that they set up these fictitious bank accounts.
Fake names, like the Constitution Group or whatever it was called. Then they had one called Fox Photography.
Right, completely fictitious as far as the investigation has shown.
Incredible. Let me run that back a little bit so we can play that when we come back on the air.
The Right rally.
These guys, and we didn't know it.
What about?
All right. There we go. We'll have that when we come back. And again, the story is even more juicy. So one of the people paid by the leftist NGO Southern Poverty Law Center was an organizer of that Charlottesville Unite the Right rally. You remember with the torches and all that, right? And the SPLC paid for it. Now they've been indicted. Multiple of these kinds of donations. Todd Blanche is out there, obviously ringing the alarm on that. You saw last night on the Ingraham show. So we'll have more of that coming up here in just a little bit. In fact, we'll touch base on some of that. James Dixon will join us coming up in just a moment. I don't know if you saw this morning. I heard it. I catch some of this as I'm, coming or going or whatever it is. Tim Cook and Apple, Adele. Now, you caught that. I did too, because didn't Tim just basically say, I'm not going to be the CEO anymore? He's gonna head up the board there. That's interesting. CEOs resigning. Just keep an eye on just watching all this stuff kind of floating around. I thought it's fascinating too. Keep an eye on this. 2028. Mark Cuban wants to run for president. Trust me.
Plus wellness.com. We do manufacturing in Dallas. We're working really close with Trump RX, which I love. We're going to be integrating our list of medications there. We're looking to bring manufacturing from overseas for generics to Dallas. And so there's so many things we're doing with the administration that I think will really accelerate, because I'm going to let you in on a secret. Okay. Republicans like cheap drugs too.
Absolutely.
Independents like cheap drugs too.
Everybody needs cheap
Democrats
drugs.
like cheap drugs too. So that's the mission, to make it inexpensive, starting with medications and then going across the board to all health care.
They did a walk and talk, is what this is called in the business here, with Steve Doocy this morning on Fox and Friends in Pittsburgh, Mark Cuban's his old neighborhood, his hometown, his stomping grounds. And I saw this along with some other things that I've seen from him lately. I thought, he's running. Oh, he's gearing up. They're trying to test the waters, but he wants to run. Now the question is, because you just heard him sort of addressing it, and now he's gone on Fox News here. The question is, would he run as a Republican or as a Democrat? Lots of other names that you've heard recently, obviously. Republican side of things, Marco Rubio. Why are we talking about 2028? Just a side note. J.D. Vance. And then yesterday, well, I don't think we got enough time to really get into it, but Ron DeSantis and President Trump have been having conversations back and forth as well, because Ron's going to be leaving office as the governor of Florida here at the end of the year. And so the question is, what does he do next? Does he go back into the private sector, or is he called into the administration to serve? And if he does, what's that do to the spotlight of someone who, would like to run, I think, in 2028 and would make a great president? I'm not endorsing or any of that, but I'm just saying. So keep an eye on that. Yes, Cuban is a Democrat. The question is, though, will he cross over? Trump. Guess who else was a Democrat? Trump was. Will he cross over? What will that look like? Because I don't know if he could run I don't know if he could win the nomination as a Democrat. He's too common sense. He's too reasonable.
Glenn Beck, and you're listening to West Michigan Live with our good friend Justin Barclay. The Glenn Beck program coming up at 10 on Wood Radio.
These guys, and we didn't know it.
What about Charlottesville and the Charlottesville Unite the Right rally? Were they involved in that?
Yes. So what we allege in the indictment and what the grand jury found is that one of the individuals that they paid was one of the folks who helped organize that terrible event. And so so imagine what we're talking about, Laura. We're talking about an organization that actively came out and just screamed it from the top of their lungs.
So just so people understand watching this, did these informants in some cases, given the evidence you've seen, actually initiate what would ultimately be these activities? And obviously Charlottesville ended with a tragedy.
That's a good question.
Well, we know that they were part of those. They were part of it. Whether they were the leaders or the initiators, that'll come out, I think, eventually.
Can you imagine? I mean, these very people raising money to say that they're going to fight against these very things, and then they use those very things as political tools and weapons to take on the conservative causes, Republicans, Trump specifically, Charlottesville. Holy moly. Yeah. And what's the Michigan connection? Joining us now, James Dixon, down I-75 over on X with the podcast as well. And this is a story that's rocking the nation, but particularly back here at home in the Mitten, because, well, seems like one of these candidates for governor, the Democrat Secretary of State currently right now, Jocelyn Benson, she has some ties to the Southern Poverty Law Center. James, let's walk it through. Welcome in.
Good morning, Justin. Great to hear your voice. And yeah, I mean, not only does she have ties, at the beginning of her career, she's an intern who actually did infiltrate a neo-Nazi group to do a news story on them. And then later, right up until she became Secretary of State, was on the board. So she's in this up to her knees.
Well, let me ask you, was she on the board when all this was going on?
She was on the board. So she joined it in 2014 when she was dean of the Wayne State Law School. And then she left in 2019. And the federal indictment on a Southern Poverty Law Center covers 2014 to 2023. So it covers her entire tenure as a board member.
Wow. That's incredible.
And that includes 2017, that Charlottesville rally. And one of the groups you see on there is Unite the Right, who put it on. And so, Justin, the way these infiltrators work is it's a protest, right? One person in the mob grabs a rock and throws it. You know what happens then?
Mm-hmm.
Then the mob is throwing rocks. And so it's very easy to tip these kind of things over and make them look bad. And so my question is, who paid for the tiki torches?
Well,
who paid for the tiki torches? Did
well.
Jocelyn Benson sign that check for the tiki torches?
You know what? That's a great question. One thing I'll tell you for sure, James, the right is not united and never has been united enough to be able to buy their own tiki torches, because I often joke about it, and it's true. We're watching this play out right now. Just look at everything that's happened recently, with the podcast, disruptions and everything else. But I mean, it's like herding cats on the right. If you ever see these organized protests and they're very well funded and well organized, the signs match up and you're saying they got tiki torches, or how about that group of people that were running around DC and some of these other places wearing uniforms? Come on.
And so another one of the groups mentioned was called American Front.
That's them.
Remember Patriot Front. Right?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Front. This is the only group of 10 men who's all in shape in America. I couldn't have joined them. I tried, but I couldn't have joined them. And the way they were even standing to where they were watching each other's six, they were so obviously fed.
Yeah.
And so then you consider the relationship between the federal government and the Southern Poverty Law Center. The FBI will detail agents to specific groups, law firms, things like this that it works with. And Southern Poverty Law Center, until this year, was one of them. And so all of the extremism we read about pretty much is fake.
James, next thing you got to watch it. Next thing you're going to tell me that January 6th, there must have been some FBI moles involved there or something.
And so let's think about that, right?
Yeah.
So what did we learn at the Whitmer kidnapping trial?
Fednapping trial, yes.
The Fednapping trial. There was testimony that, remember that April 30th, 2020 rally in Lansing, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the one where men had guns slung over their chest and they made it into the Capitol. Never seen anything like it. How'd that happen?
Yeah.
Well, as we learned at the trial during testimony, the FBI actually called Michigan State Police and said, make sure to let those guys with guns in the building.
What?
Now, why would you do that? Because that was supposed to create an image and create a narrative about right-wing extremism in America, and that ended up being the prototype for January 6th.
Holy smokes. Hey, I got one that'll bake your noodle too. The guy that was in charge of the FBI in Michigan at that time in Detroit, he then left, was promoted, went to D.C., and he was in charge of the D.C. field office when January 6th happened. Now, I'm sure that's just a coincidence there.
Now, think about the last person you heard of getting a promotion from Detroit to D.C. It's not really a thing, is it? And so how does that happen? Because he had specific expertise in exactly the kind of psyop they would pull on January 6th.
Holy smokes.
And it's the same thing where you don't just get into the Michigan Capitol and you just don't get into the U.S. Capitol. You have to be let in. In both cases, the feds set a trap to set a narrative. Let's think about the Whitmer Fednapping itself, right? So you're sitting around with some friends. You're hard on your luck, as many people are in Gretchen Whitmer's Michigan, and you're blowing off some steam. You're saying what you don't like about the governor. Next thing you know, the suspiciously in-shape guy in your group says, I know where her summer house is. Let's go up there. I'll even drive. So these guys are smoking weed in the car. Not exactly what you do before you're about to, kidnap somebody, right? They're smoking weed in the car. And the reason it was fine to do, Whitmer was never in danger because there was always a federal operative. The federal operative is how they knew where to go in the first place, and he drove.
Wow.
These things are all fake, Justin.
You know, you got to be careful there. They're going to give you your own, conspiracy theory show. You know, what's wild about this, though. These aren't theories. In fact, these indictments to come down, they have to go through quite a rigorous test, and now they'll see their day in court in Alabama. So, we're going to find out real quickly. Speaking of which, what will the political, if any, because people want to see accountability. It's not enough to just hear these things that we've known for a long time, but they want to see accountability. Some of that should come with people being arrested, indicted, thrown in jail. If that's in the cards here in these situations, I'm not suggesting that's going to happen to Benson, but politically, what will happen? And I hate to say that I'm cynical here in this situation, but I don't know. I think we'll be hard pressed to see any of the Michigan media cover any of this and her connections to it.
Not in any real way. What they'll do is they'll talk about there is an indictment, and they will make sure to say that these are just allegations. They will do everything they can to minimize what's been said, and they would not do the journalist thing, which is to make the connections between what's out there. We know Benson has multiple histories with these groups, multiple runs with Southern Poverty Law Center. Mm-hmm. It's all out there. I mean, during her time as a board member, they were even tarring Dr. Ben Carson as an extremist.
Yeah.
So this is literally a Democrat group that's out there to say to be a Republican is per se to be a Nazi, KKK extremist. I guess in their world, those are all the same thing. And now it's all coming down. It turns out not one piece of this was organic.
Hey, what are you covering on the show? I know there are some other things that we want to talk about today, but what are you covering on your show and online? People might want to be up to speed on. I know that the Democrat convention over the weekend was off the chain in a way that I don't think anybody expected. You compare that to the Republican convention that just went down, and it gives me a little bit of hope, because Democrats did not have it together.
Justin, this is the difference between blessings and blessings in disguise, right? A blessing in disguise is when Republicans have the worst convention possible, but they do it in 2022 in a state that always reelects incumbents, and you weren't going to win no matter what happened. A blessing is in a year when there's not one incumbent on the statewide ballot, and the Democrats choose that time to elect extremist candidates who are not going to look good to the average person. And so the one good thing to result from this is there seems to be a consensus now, because both parties have been burned in recent history by extreme delegate picks who are not going to look good to the average person. So maybe we could see actual voters decide that and not just party insiders. But man, the Democrats did exactly what I would want them to do as a Republican. Forget the prosecutor from Oakland County, our second largest county in Michigan.
Yeah.
Why don't you go with the guy from Washington?
Oh,
County?
James, we dodged a bullet, man.
Karen McDonald would have walked in.
She would have walked in, and then you would have had to worry about her becoming governor next, because she's got it together. And I'll tell you, I am incredibly optimistic, cautiously optimistic, but I am optimistic about our chances here. Particularly with the Secretary of State and the Attorney General. A lot remains to be seen for the governor's race, and even the race for Senate with Mike Rogers, because the Democrats on that side, all three of them, very extreme and radical. They haven't been able to pick anybody reasonable with common sense. It is wild to watch. If you want an up close front row seat to it all, James Dixon will provide it all at X. You can watch and comment and have conversations with him down I-75 and the podcast as well. James, thank you for taking the time. Anything else we should mention before we let you go? We got a bit back on.
I just wanted to thank you for these opportunities, brother. It's always a pleasure.
You got it, my friend. Likewise. God bless. Back in moments, folks. Don't go anywhere. We keep you updated with the latest. In fact, stock market right now. Wondered how this was going to shake out. So aside from the few attack there was last night on a couple of ships there, 3 or more inside Strait of Hormuz, markets are happy. CNBC says they're they're all in the green this morning. These aren't futures. This is after the open, up nearly 400 points with the Dow. No matter what happens, folks, you got to know that it feels like a roller coaster ride. You don't have to feel nauseous. You don't have to lose sleep at night. Mike Lester and the team at Talon Wealth, guardingyournestegg.com, want to make sure that you are well positioned. And you can get there today. Call them at 616-661-1000 or go online to guardingyournestegg.com, but do it today.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Wednesday, April 22nd. I'm Robin Hoffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. Michigan Republican Cam Cavett and the Midwesterner visiting the Sheboygan River Dam and dams along the Black River Dam to survey the surging water, witness the damage of the floodwaters, and discuss the next steps to mitigate the disaster. The full story and pictures at themidwesterner.news. In other news, Michigan Secretary of State, Democrat Jocelyn Benson, hit with a fourth complaint about racial discrimination at the Michigan Department of State. Metro Detroit branch employees Jacqueline Griffin and Cheryl Ann Sanker alleged they were both subjected to discrimination and retaliation. And residents in Ingersoll Township scoring a big win after planning commissioners voting to reject a special use permit for a DTE Energy solar park. For these stories and more, visit The Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
At Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
Stick with us today, boy. Oh, boy. We have quite a show and I'll say this, an eye-opening Maha update for you today. Our good friend, Maha Missy, joins us coming up on the program. During the after show, the show after the show, that's coming up this morning. So lock in. Enjoy that. Looking forward to it. Okay. A lot of craziness happening in the world right now. I know. I get it. I'm watching it too. Maybe it's time, if you haven't taken the time to do this, get prepared at preparewithjustin.com. I have been working with the folks in my Patriot Supply for a long time now, whether it's energy disruptions. Yesterday, we told you about the way Europe wants to go with the latest lockdown threat because of, energy. Preparewithjustin.com. You can get all your needs, whether it's the solar backup generators. You can get the food that you want to get. Okay, so you're not going to be out of power. You're not going to be out of food. You're not going to be out of clean drinking water if you need that too. The best time to get ready is now, not like after everything hits the fan. Have a little more peace at night, right? So you can know when it does come that you're ready as much as you can be. Do what you're called to do and then put the rest in God's hands. That's my plan anyway. That's how I stay ready. In fact, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, folks. That's the key. Put it all in God's hands. Prepare like it all depends on you and pray like it all depends on him. Preparewithjustin.com. Preparewithjustin.com. Helping fund what we do here on a daily basis. And you get to make sure that you are you're ready to go no matter what comes your way. I do have some bad news. Virginia voters will cover what happened there yesterday. Tucker regrets it. Oh, my. Have you seen the latest here? Tucker regrets it. He says he's sorry for endorsing Trump. My question is, and like I said, fastest hour on radio flying by. We got an after show coming up. Does Tucker think he should have voted for Kamala? Was Kamala any better? I don't know. I'm a little, I don't know, just a little concerned about that. I don't see how you can make that comparison. In fact, I'm not the only one who has an issue with it. We will, we'll fill you in. All coming up in just moments, folks. Stand by. Let's get back on the air here. All right, so what happens in Iran next? Okay, this this is much the same. We're going to talk about this tonight. Do a fireside chat with folks on the social media, Facebook, Twitter, X, Rumble, Getter, Locals, YouTube, all those places. JustinBarclay.com, where you can come hang out with us tonight. I think it's 8:30. I literally may have an actual fire. It's going to be so nice out. I'm just kick back with a fire. And I'll talk more about what I think is happening. I mentioned this yesterday. I think it was an after show. But, if you look at what's really playing out here, Trump called this out. We played a little bit of the CNBC audio yesterday that he called in to the morning show there. And he mentioned, they're trying to figure out, they thought they had a deal. They thought they had people going over. We've heard stories about the Ayatollah being held. I don't know if it's true or not, but they said the guy's being held hostage at some point. I don't know. I will say this. I think what we're watching play out is the fact that they've taken out like 50 of these top leadership folks, the political side of things, and some of the only folks left are military or IRGC. And so you're dealing with people that are fractured, they're decentralized, and they can't come together and make a deal together. One of the questions when we thought about making a deal, we talked about this, is who are you going to make the deal with? Who's left? The son of the Ayatollah, the gay Ayatollah, that guy, we've been told he's in a coma. I don't even know if he's still alive. Here's the president yesterday on CNBC.
To be clear, you're saying that you need at least the prospects for a signed deal today and tomorrow, or else you would resume bombing Iran.
Well, I expect to be bombing because I think that's a better attitude to go in with. But we're ready to go. I mean, the military is raring to go. They are absolutely incredible. I built the military in my first term. I'm using it now. The military, when I took it over from Barack Hussein Obama, it was so depleted, so sad. And I built it in my first term. You remember those big numbers. You talked to me about it once.
It will be interesting to see what actually happens next. I do think Trump, he wants to make a deal, but you only can take this so far. And he's been asked by Pakistan to hold off until they can get that deal done. But I think they're getting mixed signals out of Iran right now, and that might be one of the problems here and moving forward. But if they can keep the strait open, those forces and factions, well, they can have at it and fight each other. It sounds like that might be some of the things that will happen. We're up over 400 points now in the Dow. So just something to keep an eye on as we move. We're just talking a little bit more about that in the after show on the way. And then again tonight, like I said, the fireside chat. I'll give you some of the behind the scenes scoops, some of the details coming up. In the meantime, thanks to the folks at the Good Feet store, keeping me on my toes with all these headlines. It's never a dull. It's like drinking from a fire hose, like I said, and it takes a lot to keep up with that. Whether it's work or play, I'm running, chasing after the girls. We're now on to riding our bikes down the street. Want to ride our bikes, and we got a scooter, so now both girls are active with those. We got helmets. The little one wanted her own helmet, so I said, "Of course, we got to get you a helmet. You can't be riding these things without one." So we got a helmet, and you gotta keep up after them. It's not like you could just let them go. You just gotta stay right there. And I think we're gonna experiment with taking the training wheels off for the oldest. She's about that point. Either way, I gotta tell you, you gotta stay up to date and on your toes, on your feet with these things. The Good Feet store helps me do it. You can find out more when you go to the Good Feet store on 28th Street, right there in front of Costco, or in Portage on Westage in front of Kohl's. Walk in and see for yourself. But I've been ranting and raving about for years now. That's a Good Feet store. All right, the Glenn Beck program is coming up next. In the meantime, you can get the after show, the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you download your podcast. Back with you tomorrow. Make it a great one. God bless.
Come, that will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
WOOD Grand Rapids, WOOD FM Muskegon. The news is next on Wood Radio.
An iHeart radio station.
Guaranteed human.
This is a Money Minute with Laurel Stewart of Matson Financial Services.
Planning for retirement can seem overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. At Matson Financial Services, our Money Mentors Toolkit helps you organize everything from income and taxes to Social Security. You can even take our checklist challenge to see what you might be missing in your retirement plan. You've done the hard work of saving for retirement. Let us help arm you with the tools to help you enjoy a successful retirement. Get your Money Mentors Toolkit now. Simply text KIT to 616-288-2909. That's 616.
All right, folks, let me push a couple of buttons and let's get this show on the road. Maha Missy joining us coming up in just a little bit with the latest reports. Got some big ones for you, so we'll make sure we do that. And before I get going, make sure you share, whether you're watching Facebook, Twitter, X, Rumble, Getter, Locals, YouTube, want to give you something cool out of the store at justinbarclay.com/store. Stand by. Here we go. All right.
Get ready to strap in. It's going to be a heck of a ride. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Never a dull moment, but yes, you'll hear the stories you won't hear anywhere else, and we appreciate you being here with us for them today. I'm Justin Barclay. Into the behind-the-scenes live stream of the after show, the show after the show. We appreciate you being here, and of course, all the support that you give us, whether you're watching, whether you're listening. By the way, if you're on social media, give us the thumbs up. Hit the like button. Smash that thing. Drop us a comment and say where you're watching from. Love to hear from you. That helps us with the algorithm, too. So let us know that you're there. Give us a little quick check and say hey as we get into the show after the show, folks. Got a little bit to talk about with Iran. Tucker. Anybody else all tuckered out? It's just the latest episode has got people talking, and I'm not the only one here. Tucker regrets endorsing Trump. He says he's really sorry about it. He wishes he did. This is the latest episode with his brother. We'll talk about that coming up here in just a little bit as well. Healthwithjustin.com. Maha Missy will join us up on the program in just moments as well. We down over 30 pounds, my wife and I both, feeling great. She's wearing the clothes that she hadn't been able to wear for a long time to go shopping for some new ones too, and I feel better than ever. Here's the key. Right now, you can save big whenever you decide to join us in the Maha mission. Call 269-964-4044. That's 269-964-4044. Go to healthwithjustin.com. Call Maha Missy. She'll be on with us a little bit later on, and we'll be discussing some of the latest developments in the Maha news story. We got a couple of things from RFK and that big announcement over the weekend with Trump and Joe Rogan. So if you haven't been paying attention, strap in. You'll get the news in moments. MyPillow.com/Justin, MyStore.com/Justin, Mike Lindell with all kinds of great products. Before you go shopping anywhere else like a big box store, make sure with Mike first. Chances are he has it. And you can help support my show when you're doing it and help us keep going every day. The things that we need to get out to the folks, cut through the noise and bring people the truth. Logic and common sense is so rare these days. Thank you for your support. All right, Tucker says he's sorry for misleading people. This is one of the strangest stories. I like Tucker. I really do. I like Tucker. I haven't spent much time with Candace, so I can't really go there. But I will tell you, some of these folks, I'm looking at it wondering, like, what in the world? What happened? What happened to these guys? Here's Tucker from the podcast. This is with his brother. I think his name's Buckley. And they're discussing Buckley, also at one point a big Trump fan. I think he did some work for Trump. I have some thoughts on what I think might have happened. I'm just going to
I'm going to reserve. I'm going to wait. I'm not going to weigh in just yet on this because I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. Like I said, I like Tucker, but he's not making a lot of sense these days.
People, it was not intentional. That's all I'll say.
I'm sorry for misleading people. And Scott Jennings, when he was talking there to his brother, the former GOP Trump speechwriter, Buckley Carlson, what do you say to that?
I mean, is his preference that Kamala Harris had become the president of the United States? That will come as a surprise to, I'm sure, a lot of people who used to view Tucker Carlson as a conservative and some.
This is a point that I by the way, and I'm glad Scott made it. This is a point that I think our brains are broken. We're forgetting, and people that are being pulled around in so many different directions. Remember your choices. Now, Tucker says he's sorry for campaigning for Trump. He's sorry for endorsing Trump. He's sorry. Would you rather have Kamala been? And again, think about this. The alternative, remember where we're coming from. Folks, we're finding out now, as the Justice Department finally coming out with some of the details. We're finding out now the Southern Poverty Law Center, like we've always known, has been out there doing what they're doing behind the scenes. Manufacturing racism and this fake, all of this stuff. Fake. James Dixon said it best earlier. It's all fake. It's all been fake. And it's all been manufactured to make people who have any sort of truth, logic, or common sense in their approach look like they're the extremists. It's absolutely incredible. And by the way, anytime this doesn't work, I see a lot of it on social media still, but anytime you come and you try to, well, you're an ist. And they could throw every ist in the book. Racist, sexist, homophobic, misogynist. Homophobic isn't an ist, but it is. You know what I mean. All of the ist, Islamophobic, that's the other. Islamophobisms. Phobias. Anyway, I watch this and I think to myself, it just doesn't work. Don't comment. We don't care. We're not like offended by that anymore. So anyway, what was the alternative? Kamala gets in, then they continue to go after little old ladies praying at abortion clinics, and they continue to go after like Catholics who are just trying to go celebrate the traditional Latin mass, and then they continue to go after like parents that just want to go, homeschool or speak up at the school boards. I mean, it's crazy. That's what Biden's Department of Justice was doing. That's what Kamala Harris's Department of Justice would have continued to do. The choice was clear. It's not even close. So to say you're sorry, I think, unfortunately, there's more to this story than we're getting. And I don't know what it is exactly. It could be any number of things, but I think that's very obvious to a lot of people now.
And I want to say I'm sorry for misleading people. It was not intentional. That's all I'll say. I do think it's like a moment to wrestle with our own consciences. We'll be tormented by it for a long time. I will be. You and I and everyone else who supported him, you wrote speeches for him, I campaigned for him. I mean, we're implicated in this for sure.
Yes.
It's not enough to say, well, I changed my mind, or like, oh, this is bad, I'm out. It's like in very small ways, but in real ways, you and me and millions of people like us are the reason this is happening right now.
Yes.
And I want to say I'm sorry for misleading people.
I don't know what to make of this. As I said, I think there's more going on that we don't have all the details on. I like Tucker. I'm intentionally not trying to step into the fray on these things because this is the one thing that I will warn you. It looks like we've had some victories. It looks like DEI has gone away. It looks like there's more truth, logic, and common sense out there right now, It looks like we've had some victories. But make no mistake, folks. All of this stuff is waiting dormant. It's like hibernating. It's ready to come back with a vengeance. It could happen at any moment. And let me be clear here. And this is this is the thing. If they lose the House and the Senate, then that's a possible, that's a possibility, especially after what we saw happen in Virginia yesterday. I mean, if they lose the House and the Senate, you're going to see all the impeachment proceedings. Trump's going to be lame duck like never before, right? And they may, I don't know, maybe they'll be able to boot him. I don't know. They'll certainly be able to render him useless, it looks like, in a lot of ways. And then in 2028, all bets are off. What happens if a Democrat and then the machine, the system starts to fire up again? Because remember, all these things that Trump has done, mostly, unless you count like the one big beautiful bill and a handful of other things, but mostly the stuff that he's done has been by executive order. So like trying to codify this stuff. So I'm with Scott on that question. What happened to Tucker? And would he, that's a real good question. Would he rather Kamala Harris be the president right now? It's not even close, which I think is the wild part of this.
United States. That will come as a surprise to, I'm sure, a lot of people who used to view Tucker Carlson as a conservative and someone who, had certain kinds of values. And what's he sorry for? That we got into an engagement here that might ultimately lead to taking away nuclear weapons?
We got into an engagement, Scott? That is quite a way to put it.
From Iran?
We started a war.
Is he now claiming he had no idea that Donald Trump held the position that he would never permit Iran to have nuclear weapons? If that's what he's saying today, he's kind of a moron. I don't know how else to put it. Or he's willfully misleading people. The president was clear. He'll never let them have nuclear weapons. We just saw on 60 Minutes on Sunday night a broad agreement among the experts. They have 970 pounds of enriched uranium, enough to make 10 or 11 nuclear bombs. This is not acceptable to the president. He had that position back in 2024. He had that position back in the first term. He has that position today. To say now that you're sorry that you elected a president that wanted to take away nuclear weapons from this terrorist regime, I don't get it.
Tucker Carlson was also at the White House as recently.
One thing I will say here, and she's right. He was just at the White House. So this is an interesting development too. So then you got Trump and Tucker and Candace Owens and Alex Jones and all these people going back and forth now. One of the points that I think I got off track about earlier, I was trying to make, is that we need to come together. We have to figure out how to fight. And I think one of the biggest issues we have right now, the right is not united against a clear enemy. Is Kamala's word salad's been packed up, put away, the leftovers. She's saving up for 2028. Biden's gone in more ways than one. Newsom just ain't getting it done. There's no real boogeyman, although there are plenty behind the scenes that they're not aware of, that they're not really focused on. There's no real focus of a boogeyman. And some of those folks on the right might be trying to create and find their own boogie. If you look at what you've seen come out of some of these people, maybe they're looking for a boogeyman. I don't know. But one other thing I want to say, obviously we need to unite. We need to come together because the boogeymen aren't hiding in the shadows and they're ready to completely restart everything in 26 and 28 if we're not careful here. But one thing I definitely want to disagree with Scott on, I don't know if it's just a figure of speech, but there is one thing I will say. Tucker Carlson is not a moron. He's not a moron. That's why some of this is so perplexing. There's an answer. There's a reason for some of these things. We may not have all of those answers right now. We don't know exactly what's happening behind the scenes, but we know something is going on that we don't have all of the evidence on right now. It is an issue, and I get, like I said, I don't know what it is. But what happened? I know I'm not the only one that's wondering what in the heck happened. Speaking of what happened, and this is a great example of why all these things matter. In Virginia, they succeeded yesterday, and part of this I was reading something about the money that the Republican Party spent and how they sort of dropped the ball on this. I don't have the full details because I wasn't watching it close because, again, this is one of those scenarios. There's not much I can do with it. Tammy believes Virginia cheated. It's possible, but I will tell you, I think either way, whether Republicans dropped the ball, whether Virginia cheated or not, they're going to be digging into this for quite some time. But now they go from a 6-5 split in Virginia in the House. This is, I think it's 6 Democrats, 5 Republicans, I think is how it is, to a 10-1 split. That'll be 10 Democrats, 1 Republican out of Virginia that will represent that Commonwealth, because it's not a state, it's Commonwealth, in the House. That means we lose 4 Republicans, and we're getting into, even more critical territory as things heat up here in the next, coming months. This is going to be a big one. It's one to keep an eye on. I know Ron DeSantis is looking at it too. He's got his eye on those issues with Florida. We've been watching that. But the other thing I mentioned earlier, the thing that was kind of interesting, is that Ron DeSantis is now in the spotlight again. He's in the spotlight again. Not for all the wonderful things that he's done in Florida. Certainly, those are constantly in the spot. Florida's a free state of Florida. They've done a fantastic job there. But he may serve at some point in the Trump administration. His name has been brought up a number of times. So, what does that look like? Axios is reporting that the term-limited governor from Florida is 100% not interested in the attorney general job, but he would be very interested in 2 other high-profile positions. Secretary of War, which is currently held by Pete Hegseth, or his dream job, a seat on the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, if that were to happen, there's probably no presidential run, I would think, ever, because you hold that seat for life.
The only thing I will say, Clarence Thomas, greatest living justice and one of the greatest public servants in America.
He would make, there he is, praising Clarence Thomas. He would make a fantastic, at least in my opinion, a fantastic Supreme Court justice. At least, I'd put the caveat on this, as far as I can tell. Anyway, that's some I thought interesting news out of the conversations happening. One big piece of good news I'll give you. Texas now has this new ruling that just came out. Texas now can require public schools to display the 10 Commandments in classrooms, according to a U.S. appeals court ruling that happened yesterday. Why is that important? Well, you need to have a firm foundation. And in schools, whether you treat this like it's religion or history, because it is, you have to understand right and wrong. Where does right and wrong come from? It's pretty simple stuff. It came from the 10 Commandments. It came from what God handed down. And this is historic. You can make it as though it's not. You can try all you want to make it as though it's not. But this is historic. This is history. Kids have to learn these things. They have to really understand. You get into any conversation with any leftist at all on any number of these things, and I will tell you what's so funny is they cannot tell you, well, where does this moral thing come from? Why is that moral? Why is this moral? You don't think we should kill people? Why is that morally correct? Why? What's that all about? And without that firm foundation, look at what happens. So I think it's important. I think I'm very happy to see that. And I will tell you, good news. Who knows? Who knows? But it is Texas. Who knows how long it stands? Speaking of standing, these people couldn't stand it once they found out the truth. Folks in California believe Caitlin Bennett walked up to liberals on the street in California, Democrats, and had conversations with them about the war in Iran. Alleged comments that President Trump had made, turns out they were actually made by Obama and Biden and a few others, Hillary Clinton as well. And these Democrats, boy, when they found out.
Iran is a destabilizing, dangerous force in the Middle East. Do you agree with him on that at least?
No.
We would be able to totally obliterate them. That's a terrible thing to say, but those people who run Iran need to understand that. And what do you think he meant by saying those people?
White supremacy. His subhuman people of color.
He's becoming very delusional and honestly showing a little bit of signs of dementia.
This is something someone with dementia would say.
Absolutely.
Had Kamala.
Remember, this is not actually, these aren't comments that actually came from Trump. These have come from Democrats, and they don't realize it. They're walking right into it.
Actually won the election. Do you think we would even be in this?
Absolutely not.
And they were not falling for this Iran stuff either.
No.
If Hillary Clinton had just won in the first place, maybe we wouldn't be in this mess.
Yeah, I would go with that. If he had a kind soul, I think anyone can be beautiful, but he is not beautiful. No. He's not beautiful inside or out. He's a horrible person.
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
Yes.
Did you guys vote for Hillary Clinton?
Yeah.
We would not be in this position if she were president today.
Or Kamala. The man
Wait for it. They're going to flip.
truly is insane.
Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris said all of that, not Donald Trump.
Really?
Yes.
That makes me very sad.
Are you serious? They are not.
Yes, they are.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's a gotcha. Good for you.
You've never heard them say this stuff?
No, I haven't.
That was a quote from 2008, right here.
To it. I don't, you know what, who can believe what we read?
Did you go to the cops about me?
Yeah, I just wanted to see if you needed a permit.
I didn't mean to
Guy trying to call the cops on her for telling the truth.
make you cry.
Crying, but it's shameful.
What's shameful about it? There's nothing.
Oh, speaking of shameful, madam. It is just another example of what happens. And you got to be careful when you wield the truth. That's why the Lord always did truth with grace, right? You got to do both. You got to mix them together, sometimes hitting people upside the head with the truth. Without grace, it can be a dangerous thing. But that was, I don't know, that was a little bit of, I think, fun entertainment for the day. We've got more truth coming your way in just moments. Want to bring in our good friend Maha Missy to talk about. Welcome in. It's been another big week of insane but also awesome updates when it comes to the health front. Maha Missy with us right now. Good morning. Welcome in. This is really cool. We've got big shaken movies and moving shaken happening this entire last week or so. I've got so much. Again, this is going to be tough to fit everything in today, but let's give people just a little bit of a glimpse of what they're going to see. President Trump in the Oval Office with a big Maha moment with Joe Rogan. What's happening there? Is there a nasal spray that can help reverse brain aging? Right. Pete Hegseth says he's going to make the military healthy again. We'll tell you about his controversial move. And if you're on the shots or you know someone who is, or maybe you've been thinking about it, you've got to be careful because there's new side effect that's coming out that is downright dangerous, and I think to a point that could be I just can't even imagine how this works, but to a point that will shock people when they hear what it is. So welcome in Maha Missy from My Pure Health Solutions, healthwithjustin.com, by the way, as we get geared up for another big show. And yes, my wife and I, down over 30 pounds. She's rocking it, feeling better than ever. She's going shopping, in her closet for some of her clothes. I'm doing this. And you know what's wild? She gets to go shopping at the store too, which she loves. It's a win-win. We'll tell you more about how you can join us in the Maha Mission. coming up, but we always have good news that we make sure we'll let you in on. First, this, Missy.
Yeah.
I saw this with Joe Rogan, and I've heard some of these stories. Anybody that has anyone that is struggled with addiction in their family, a friend, someone they know, love, care about, this is a earth-shattering. Yeah. It's massive, this big announcement.
Trump, some information. We have a gigantic opiate problem in this country, obviously. In 2024, more than 80,000 people died of overdoses. It's a horrible number. And there's more than 5 million people that are addicted to opiates right now in this country. With one dose of Ibogaine, more than 80% of people are free of that addiction. With 2 doses, it's more than 90%. I sent him that information. The text message came back, sounds great. Do you want FDA approval? Let's do it. It was literally that quick. These drugs are illegal not because they're harmful. They're illegal because of the 1970 Controlled Substances Act that was passed by the Richard Nixon administration. They did it to target the civil rights movement and the anti-war movement. It's not because these drugs harm people. And for 56 years, we've lived under those terrible conditions. We're free of that now. We're free of that now. Thanks to all these people that we see next to me, and thanks to President Trump.
We all respect Joe, and he's a little bit more liberal than. That's okay. I have a lot of friends that are liberal, but Joe is an amazing guy, and he wrote me a little note about this, and I had it checked out. I didn't just do it. I had it checked out. I went to Bobby and Oz. I went to some of the people that work for you, real pros, and everybody came back with the same answer. You know, normally they'll come back, because this happens a lot. I have a couple of them like that, where they're not sure. It's like, you know, it goes 2 ways. This thing, everybody thought it was incredible. And I told Bobby, I said, Bobby, let's just do it and get Oz involved, and it's going to get done so quickly. And you guys did a great job.
Well, let's talk about what this is, because these are psychedelic drugs, and I've know some people that have been involved with some of this, and they've seen lots of help when it comes to the therapies that are underway. What are they using, and what's this going to look like?
Well, I think, right, oh my gosh, there's so much going on. And I think when people hear what Trump's saying, like maybe he's like, you know, I'm doing this and Oz, and, you know, looks good. He is minimizing everything he probably really want to say. I mean, because the proof is in the pudding, and the word psychedelic drug, I think, already throws people off, you know, and we're thinking of the 1970s, you know, peace, love, and hippie war, or peace and love and no war, whatever. But again, this is a natural substance found on the planet Earth. Go figure. And what this is doing is this chemical is going into the body, and it's helping people that are in addiction are stuck, and they're stuck in a loop, and that loop is so deeply ingrained in their body. It's just like, you know, going by Big Ben every day, all day. And that loop is your subconscious. Your subconscious is what's controlling, is your filter, your filtering system, how you perceive things, how you view things, how you hear things, how you're even going to respond. You're stuck in a loop, and that loop is addiction. And that loop is also postpartum, you know, PTSD as well. And so what the chemical is doing is going in the body. And God's the one that created this. I didn't. But from what the research is showing is somehow going in and it's a pattern disruptor, which means it's stopping the looping system that's going on in your body, which according to like what they're saying, like what Joe Rogan was saying, 1 to 2 doses and the looping is gone. And it's kind of like you're a brand new person, because that part of the computer system, that brain of yours, has been uprooted, and in its place is going to become, it's hard to explain it, but I think the word psychedelic drugs is the first thing that people go like, ooh, I'm going to be out of control or something. You're not going to be you're not a hippie. You're just there to use this to be able to get unstuck from the looping system that is keeping you a hostage in your own body. That's my take.
You make a really good point. This is a plant-based compound, according to these folks. Ibogaine is what it's called.
Yeah, all natural. It's all natural. And again, it's been suppressed. I mean, go figure. Almost everything and anything that's here on planet Earth that's here to heal us has been banned. I mean, at one point, just look at what they told. Everything's been inverted, and the things that we don't know about have been suppressed. This being one of them. I mean, can you imagine how many people? I mean, how many people? He said 50 million people, 500 million people are stuck inside themselves. They're stuck and they're a hostage, and all they need is to take this one natural chemical to be able to unstick themselves.
Here's the CEO of that company talking about what the plant-based substance is.
Three attributes that we're working with here. This is a revolutionary opportunity for us because Ibogaine does three things. I would explain the physiology in terms of the way in which it literally, within 48 hours, will resolve physiological substance dependence for 80% of folks who take it but one time. That goes to 97% when they do it with a booster dose.
Now, that's incredible. If those numbers hold up, I've never heard anything like that. You can actually get people off drugs. The people that have been hooked, and think about the lives that are destroyed within days of using this. It's incredible.
It is. And people just, again, it's a whole... People don't understand that the body is always going to go towards what's comfortable, even if that comfortableness is destruction, because we are creatures of comfort, and you don't. And so and they know when they take that, it's a war. It's a war that is going on in their body, and they don't have to be at war. I mean, there is something so natural on planet Earth that, again, they've known about it for a while, but they've suppressed it, and they've done a really good job of marketing. Well, they shouldn't market it as a psychedelic drug for starters, because that automatically gets people to be scared of it. And they've already built up an image in their head of what they think that's going to mean to them. And it's not.
Now, we're getting some comments. In fact, I think that's a good point, how this is all going to play out. Someone says, Dina over on Locals, it's a very serious drug that needs to be monitored in person from what I read. So this is true. And the CEO here, Brian, will talk a little bit more about it.
Yep.
Just saying, hey, everybody can go to the drugstore and buy this. There's going to be a process.
As I said, second thing that it does is it restores an individual's sense of ownership over self. If they have lived lives of compulsion where they are driven by those things that imprison them, on the other side of the Ibogaine experience, they recognize that they have ownership of self and future, and that future will be defined by choices rather than driven by compulsion. And that is fundamental and integral to recreating a viable existence.
I will put this up online if people want to dig a little bit further into it, but I thought it was definitely promising. It was good news. Here's the thing, whether I want to use something like that or not, I think that should be up to me. And if I want to have that conversation with my trusted healthcare, hey, this is the same thing I said during COVID.
Right.
If I want to have a conversation with my trusted healthcare provider on what I do and what I don't do, I should be able to have those conversations and make those decisions for myself. And I think that's where people are landing, and the president on this. Very, very excited, and I think his own, I believe his own brother, Fred.
Oh, I was reading Joe Rogan.
And maybe even died. I think it might have been alcoholism, but struggled with addiction. So he's no stranger to this. He's seen it. He knows up close and personal how this stuff works, how it can ruin lives, and that's why one of the reasons the guy doesn't drink or smoke or chew or go out with girls who do, apparently, is the saying. Speaking of those things that can be a little bit of they can be addictive. Here's RFK Jr. on how addicted he is to the meats.
I had a full body MRI. Absolutely. It was done this week to check my visceral fat and other things. I had a full body MRI a year ago. I went to this doctor who said my organs were covered with visceral fat. I had a BMI of 7. I had no fat on my body. But my inside, coating my heart, my liver, was visceral fat, which is just a harbor of disease. And I had atrial fibrillations for 4 months. His doctor said to me, he said, if you haven't had them already, you're going to have atrial fibrillations. And I'd had them for 4 months, and I never told him. I had never told him that. I went on his diet, which is a carnivore diet, with ferments, as Manette said. And he said, I can get rid of all that visceral fat within 90 days. And I took another MRI 30 days later, and I had lost 40% of it. This MRI that I took, I was down to 1 percentile of visceral fat.
This is incredible because a guy as healthy, I've seen him doing the pull-ups. I mean, this guy's got to do more pull-ups than I'll ever do in one session. The guy's a beast in his 60s. I mean, this is incredible. He was not out of shape, and yet he still had
visceral fat.
Yeah.
I was pulling a picture up. Can you see that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was trying to do that while you're having it. So we were meant to have, I know I'm probably bad with it. On the normal side, you see that little extra layer of like white fat? That's normal. As you gain weight, the visceral fat gains weight with it. And that visceral fat is again, God made some to surround and protect those organs on purpose, but too much squeezes those organs. I mean, think about the heart. The heart's supposed to be all nice over here pumping, but when it's got like a couch sitting on top of it called visceral fat, the heart can't pump anymore. But boy, that doctor sure wants to put you on some blood pressure medication, doesn't he? It's like, and it's so the visceral fat, it's a real thing. And yeah, him eating meat, a lot of the carnivore people, I mean, I for what I do for a living, I'm a weight loss person. I own a company like that. But I mean, and I see so many people that come in to see me and they've lost 30, 40, 50 pounds using the carnivore, method. And, they get to a point and then they kind of get stuck. It's not working anymore. And then that's when they come and see me. But I mean, I'm seeing crazy success with people doing this. And again, when you're eating carnivore, you're not eating processed foods. Ding, 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 ding. Carnivore means no processed foods, which means your blood sugar is not going to be spiking, which means you're going to have less cravings, less energy crashes. People are going and grabbing food thinking because their body's saying, I'm hungry. But what your body's really saying is we need energy. We just burned through that sugar you just ate 3 hours ago. Now we need something more. But you're thinking is you just need a cookie. Your body's saying, go get the cookie because we need energy. So when you're in carnivore, you're not going to have those cravings. You're not going to have energy crashes, and you're going to have mental clarity. And one last thing is easier on the gut. And the gut's a big deal. Because what you put in your gut determines, how much, how is your body going to run? We don't put diesel fuel in our car tanks because we know if we put diesel fuel in my car, I'm going to have an $8,000 problem in a matter of a minute, And so since it's going to cost us something, we don't put it in there, but we don't think about this amazing body of ours. We're putting junk in it, and we're kind of driving around in clunkers these days called our bodies.
It is interesting. And, as you mentioned, this is something that if you're not even aware of and you want to find out more about, healthwithjustin.com, you can dig into these things. At one point, it would be kind of nice to find out and get some details on where I'm at and how things are moving, because I will tell you, we watch not just a scale move, right, but we watch some other numbers move. And I was just talking about Charity, one of the other folks at My Pure Health Solutions about this last week, and she's going through some of those numbers with me. I'll try and get those and bring them back with you. Yeah. They're just as cool, maybe even cooler than seeing the scale move. Right now, maybe this is your chance. Maybe this is the moment, right? You're hearing all this stuff, thinking to yourself, well, I don't know what's going on. I've been trying so hard. I've been trying different things for so long. Maybe you don't know. You could make a difference. It's not your fault. You're doing all the right things, but you're not failing. Maybe that's because the system is. And what Mahamissy does, what they've been doing for years with My Pure Health Solutions and all the people that, when you go online to healthwithjustin.com, you'll see all of these before and afters. What those people have experienced is like a reset.
Yeah.
It's turning the metabolism back on. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh, well, this is fascinating. Do you have an hour? No, it's really, I mean, think about it. The easiest way to kind of say this is, these days when you go into to have something's wrong with your car, they're going to put like a diagnostic tool and they're going to insert that diagnostic tool inside your car and they're going to come back with a read. And the read's going to explain all the different things that are possibly going wrong in the car and what they need to do to fix it. It's kind of like what we do. The body is an amazing system on the inside. And inside that system of yours, what controls the metabolism are 2,800 individual systems, hormones, tissue, organs, 2,800 things. We need out of those 2,800 systems inside your body that are designed to function the right way. We have to figure out which part of those systems got turned off, and we just need to turn them back on. And we can do that. Again, it was breakthrough technology 100 years ago. So what I use is something that, again, is suppressed. That is why I'm so passionate about what I do, because all I've done is seen suppression for the last 28 years I've been in business. All I do is I see suppression and I see people dying and not having their lives they were designed to have because they just don't know what they don't know yet. They don't know that they can turn their metabolism on. They don't know that we can bring some jumper cables that, just like we bring jumper cables to a dead battery, your battery went dead, you bring jumper cables to it. We'd have to do the same thing. Your metabolism runs on energy. And that's not new age. That's not a new age conversation right there. Again, it's a paradigm shift. So we scan the body. That sounds crazy, but you go and get an MRI, you can go in and get a CAT scan and they can tell you everything by just standing in front of a machine and they take a picture. Well, kind of in the same way, we don't take a picture, but we have the ability to scan the body to figure out what broke down in the first place and give you a customized solution to a unique problem that's going on the inside of your body. And it's not a problem for long. It's not a problem. It's not a problem at all. I mean, because we fix it. I mean, it's just like you leave your car, you take your car from the guy fixes the car and you're excited that the car is running and functioning again, just like it was supposed to. That's exactly how your body works. We can restore function. Basically, we need to reboot your body. We need to reset it. We need to take it back and bring it back online. And we can do that thanks to people, like Dr. Royal Rife. When you do a consultation with me, have a conversation. I'm not looking to, this is not get out your credit card and drop down I'm not asking for any money on this call. I'm just asking you to have a conversation with me so I can get it. I'm always excited when I talk to everybody. You'd think that this is the first time I'm talking to somebody. I've had this conversation for 14,000 times, and it feels like a brand new conversation every time because I realize that the person I'm talking on the phone, I have the amazing, opportunity to give them a paradigm shift and and give them hope and explain to them how their body actually runs, because it does. Your body's running. You just don't know it.
Right now, turn your metabolism back on. You see it on your screen, 20% off with the Justin special today. Maha Missy going to take care of you when you call 269-964-4044. Right now, if you want to drop 2 to 3 pound size, maybe you got a hormone issue you need to balance out, detox cells, killing the brain fog, get rid of all that joint pain, you can sleep. I will tell you, this is just a side note, and I know this is I love to sleep, so I'll just say that. But in the last few, couple of weeks here, I have slept better than I have slept in a long time. I just feel so good, and I mean, it's such a small thing that makes such a big difference.
Well, here's the thing. The reason why you're sleeping better isn't because you're losing weight, is because the body, your sleep cycle is definitely part of your metabolism functioning or not functioning, because as we sleep at night, certain hormones are being created and produced, and there's messages. Your body is at work while you're sleeping. It's balancing, it's doing all these things. Your metabolism is directly linked to the quality of your life, and sleep is part of it. Gastrointestinal, your immune system, your detoxification system. People think that and that their metabolism functions only if they exercise, if they maybe don't eat some carbs, and if they stop eating sugar. That is so opposite of what is truly controlling the metabolism. Your body is a network on the inside, and so we have to figure out what's going on inside the body, tweak it, turn it back online. And we do this with customized protocols designed for you. You eat real food. And this is not a shakes and a pills game. This is eat real food. Take the things that you need customized, built for your body to restore your metabolism back to functioning. And when a true metabolism is functioning, it naturally looks for stored fat to eat for the day, because it's going to look for your stored fat to turn around and use it for fuel to give you energy. So people, I mean, when you turn your metabolism on, everything fires up on the inside of your body. Everything. I just had a couple drive down 6 hours to visit, well, not visit, to have an appointment with me yesterday. About 8 weeks ago, they drove down to 6 hours to do that body scan. I sent them off with everything they needed, and they drove back down. She's down in 40 days. So in 40 days, she dropped 21 pounds of stored fat. She no longer is in pain. They just spent $10,000 like a year ago trying to figure out why is her body just riddled in pain. She needed to lose about 30 pounds. She lost 24 with me, 21 pounds stored fat. She's no longer in pain. And this is something that they didn't tell me about. I didn't know that she couldn't breathe. She couldn't smell. For the last 8 years, she's not been able to smell anything. She gained her smelling back in 3 weeks. Again, the body just needs to be rebooted. And that doesn't make any sense until you have a conversation with me, because I'll make sure you understand. I have fun explaining how this works.
Maha, Missy, by the way, I got so much. We didn't even get a chance to get to everything today.
I'll do it.
Let's do a lightning round really quickly, because I think what we're ending up doing here is we got, again, 10 pounds of show on a 5-pound sack. So let's try and make sure we can get. Here's a couple of things. Scientists reverse brain aging with a nasal spray. New therapy is turning back the clock in aging brains. Healing inflammation, by the way, that's a key word, because that's part of what you do when healing from the inside out.
Yes.
What we're doing on this program, by the way, restoring memory and reshaping the future of brain age related therapies. It's really interesting. But that inflammation is so powerful. I'll just give you 30 seconds to touch on that.
Well, the brain, if we thought of our body like a machine, that brain of ours is the computer, is the driver. It's the computer. And that computer is never turned off. And as we age, the computer, that brain gets hotter and hotter and hotter because of inflammation, and it starts to misfire. Remove the inflammation and stop the misfiring. And I haven't been able to look too much into that nasal spray, but if it's going to reduce the inflammation and it doesn't have any other bad side effects, then heck yes, that's our computer up there. We don't think of it like that, but that's our computer, and that computer is always running, and inflammation just makes it run harder.
This is another story, by the way. This is the latest on the crazy side effects that people are having with the shots. Dr. Drew was on News Nation the other day talking about one of these side effects. I've never heard this before, but somehow they say it affects people like will to live. And
it makes sense. I watched this. Yep.
It makes you apathetic.
The opioid system, the liking system, the warm and cut. There's various systems in the brain that do that. The wanting is the deeper system, and it's a little different than desire. Even desire is adjacent to wanting. It's literally I want to do something, and then if I have an appetite with it, I may also desire it.
Okay, so what does this mean for Ozempic? I mean, we've seen so many health benefits from people losing all of this weight. I mean, what should we do with this information?
It means be careful. The excessive enthusiasm for these drugs is what scares me more than anything. I've seen very serious medical complications, including death. I've seen this, what we kind of call an apathy develop that can be destructive to people's lives. They don't go to work. Not interested in their spouses. They're not interested in their children. The things that usually interest them are just not that interesting anymore.
Yeah, huge.
It's crazy.
It's inner, yeah. Besides going blind, getting cancer in the brain, the breast tissue, the thyroid, having massive osteoporosis because it's pulling all the calcium and minerals out of your bones to give your heart what it needs, and the colon paralysis and the gastrointestinal process paralysis. Oh, and it's also impeding the dopamine reward center. So your dopamine reward center is so crucial, and we don't even think about it because it's what gives us motivation. Because there's motivation, because there's pleasure behind the motivation, and then there's going to be a drive. And so since this is killing the drive, you no longer crave food. So people are just saying like, I don't care about food. And it's just like, I'm not caring about anything. And all of a sudden it's like, I just feel off. You're just like apathy. And I'm like, but boy, but you're fitting in a pair of clothes that you haven't worn. And I'm like, for what are you doing?
These are things that I think into the future they're going to be studying even more and more about what happened. And unfortunately, a lot of people are reaching for it, but there's a solution that's all natural. Again, crazy, call me crazy, but you eat real food. There's nothing, prepackaged or wild to do. And it's maybe one of the most simple things we've ever done. My wife and I down over 30 pounds each and feeling great. And we're getting healthy from the inside out. We'll bring some of those stats with me next week. Healthwithjustin.com, 20% off the regular price. A little bit of a spring reset special so that you can reset yourself today. Anyway, I think Jessica might even stop by and see you in Battle Creek. You don't have to, but you can for sure. Call 269-964-4044. Go to healthwithjustin.com. Missy helps folks all over the country. And again, right here in our own backyard.
Oh yeah, that's a tiny little stealth bomb over here in Battle Creek, Michigan. Yeah, my reach is all over the United States because what we do is absolutely, you don't have to come in to see me. We can take care of you from wherever you are. But yeah, that's and again, here's the other thing too. We have to show you, we definitely show you how to keep the weight off for good. And again, there's a reason why we know people are like, well, how is that possible? Well, you have to understand that your hypothalamus is what's in charge of that. And so that's something that we work with. That sounds a little bit out there, but there's a method to our madness. In 40 days, women shapeshift 2 to 3 pant sizes. They lose anywhere from 20 to 25 pounds. Men are 35 to 50 pounds or so in like a 40-day stretch. That guy right there on the left, he was given 5 years to live because his high blood pressure was out of control. Medicine wouldn't correct it, and his blood pressure was normal in 2 weeks. He was like, what are you doing to my body? And I'm like, well, your body's functioning. We're bringing it back online, is what I say.
Making you healthy again. That's it. Healthwithjustin.com. Log on, find out how you can get healthy. No shots, no shakes, no pills, no exercise needed, no fake food, no gimmick. You can turn your metabolism back on in 40 days, according to Maha Missy. And everything I've seen backs that up. Holy cow. Missy, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here with us again.
Thank you, Justin. I appreciate you. And your listeners.
Keeping us up to date with all the great news, Maha related and more. Back with you next week, right here. God bless.